Hello friends, welcome back. Routing is the backbone of any Angular application. But did you know you can supercharge it with lazy loading for better performance? So in this video, we will show you how to master the Angular 19 routing and lazy loading with standalone components to make your apps blazing fast. So come, let's get started. This video is part of the full stack development video series. We were building the Smart Certify app, which is the online certification platform app, and this is episode 11. So we will be setting up the routes in Angular 19 for the project that we were building and also demonstrate what is lazy loading and how lazy loading can be implemented at the component level. Okay, so this is the app that we have. If you look at this, we have the data bindings, two components. We have home component. Under the page, we have a couple more components, right? So first thing is routes. There is a route already defined here, but I'm going to explain you how things works. So if you go to app.routes.ts, okay, it has a variable called routes. Okay, so export constant. Export means anything that is here can be used somewhere else. That's why export. If you don't mark it as an export, you cannot use it. So basically, it's a variable name that is of type routes. And these routes are nothing but array of route. So here what we define, we open like this and then say path. First one is the path. So in path, what we say if there is nothing, redirect to home and path match, and path match is full. Basically, if you just type the domain name, like for example, localhost 4200, that's it. It is going to detect this and there's nothing else. So the path is matching. It will put into the route called form route. Do we have form route? No. So let's define that. So now we are saying, see, it's automatically coming. So path is home. Okay. And then we can say load the component. So whenever this path is there, load the component. And home component control period will bring up the component. So control A, control K, control F will format the code. Okay, I repeat, control A, control K, control F will select everything and format the code. So that's a shortcut. Okay, so now we know it's a home component. So let's go to this app component and then let's remove this. Okay, so we have just the header, the router and the footer. So whenever the routing is implemented, right, so in this app component there is something called router outlet. This one is the placeholder where the components are going to get replaced. So we will always have header. Based on the route, the component will come and sit here, followed by the footer. And if you go to this app component, because you use the router outlet, that's part of router outlet, so that one has to be imported here. We don't need this home component, so let's delete this. We don't need this. We just need the header, a footer and the router outlet in the import section, because this component is using only these three things. That's why we need only these things. Now if you look at this localhost, the moment I type, it changes to /home and then the home component is automatically loaded. We don't need to do anything else. So similarly, if I click on this about or contact us, everything needs to be loaded. Okay, so let's go to this routes and then let's define another route called data binding. So we have something called data binding. Okay, so the path is data binding. So whenever the path is data bindings, we will show the data bindings component. So let's copy and see if that works. So we go here, we change this, route matches. That's why the data binding component is coming. Great. Now if I type something like this and hit, right now what is happening, it just don't know. Okay, let's try one more time. So let's try one more time. I'm going to type some random stuff. See, I got an error. I got an error saying whatever you typed, there is no such route, so just an error. We should not get any error. How do we handle this? So that's what we have to do. So there is another configuration. In case if the route is not matching, all what we are saying is if the path is like ** means anything, redirect back to the home component. I mean the home. So redirect back to the home route. So let's say I'm going to type one more time, hit, the route didn't match. However, the route knows if nothing matches, put them back to the home route. That's why you got this page. Okay, so for good. Okay, so I placed for the abort and the contact. All right, so we have different routes. But if I have to go and change to each page, I have to go to the route by manual and have to say abort, or I have to say contact us to get to this page. But I don't want to do that. Nobody is going to change the route like this. When I click this, it has to change. How do we do that? So let's go to this header component, and in the imports, because we are going to deal with the routing stuff, you need to import a module called router module. Okay, and if I have not talked about this common module and form module, basically these two modules are required only whenever you use the data bindings or the form related one. Like the common modules is for like ngif, ngfor, and for directives you need the common modules, and for the ng model you need the form modules. Okay, so the main thing for routing is the router module. Okay, so I have defined it. Now what we do, let's go to this nav bar, and in the nav bar what I'm going to show you is, so let's say, all right, so let's say I have to click on home. All right, so let's say I have a home and I need to make sure that if somebody clicks home, they need to go to the home page. Okay, so what you can do is you can come here and say a-router link will come only when you go to this extension and install something called Angular snippet. Okay, that's from John Papa. Angular snippet. If you install the Angular snippet, then this, whatever I'm showing you, right, a-router link will come. What it will do is, the moment you enter, it will just bring up a piece of logic here. So basically it says it has to be a router link, and then the navigation, which is in our case it's home, and then that's it, nothing else. So now if I come down, and if you look at this, all right, so now if I click on this home, see, it's taking to the home page. So similarly, we're going to fix all of these things. If you look at down, okay, so now if you look at down, for the remaining places, we have placed the same thing. So all what you have to understand is we are defining a router link, and then following, like we are providing the router details here, the route details. So like this, I have filled up all the routes here. So let's slowly come down. So for data bindings, I have given something like data bindings, and then that's it. Okay, and then what else? For chat, again, I have nothing here because there's no such routes. But here, if you look at this, abort and contact us. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Okay, so if I click on contact us, it goes here. If I go to abort, it goes to abort. Home, home. And if I click on something, if there is no route, for example, right, if there is no such routes, it takes you back to the home. Okay, so I think everything looks good. Okay, so now let's do one thing. For the lazy loading, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the server. Okay, and I'm going to say ng build, and I'll show you what exactly happens in the ng build. So it's building the project, and it is going to generate some files. You look at this, there is only 3 files: main.js and the polyfills and the css, which means all of the components that we just built has been combined into one file called main.js, and it just has some name, random name. Okay, the build name, and its size is this much. Okay, so lazy loading is basically, so whenever you open the page, the user may or may not navigate to all the pages. So which means we don't need to download the whole stuff at one point of time, right? So look at this. If I just run this application by ngserve, what will happen? There's only one main.js, right? So let's copy this. There's something called main.js. So let's go here, open this, and let's search for main. Okay, and then let's reload this. See, there's one main.js which has the whole content, all of the components content is here, and you see this till 865 lines. Okay, so we don't need to download this whole stuff here. As the application grows bigger and bigger, if you want a faster performance, we should not do this. Now what can we do is, we can implement something called lazy loading. Okay, so lazy loading is when you go from this place to this place. For example, abort. Only when you go to abort contents needs to be downloaded. When you go to contact us, the contact us needs to be downloaded. Other than that, we are not supposed to download any of these things. Okay, so for that, all what we have to do is, so we're going to open up this code, go to this route, and we are going to modify this. Okay, so what we are going to modify is, we will remove this and say load components. Okay, load component is a function that goes, and then we are saying import the component. Like basically we are saying where is the component. See, components, it is in component slash data binding slash component. Okay, and then okay, so when you do a tap, it is filling the data. So basically it says, hey, whenever you find this route, go to this component and then load this component. Okay, so similarly for abort and for contact us. Okay, I'm going to place this code. So we are saying don't load that component directly. Whenever you go, only take that component and load. See the difference? Now this is not having lazy loading, but all the three components has lazy loading. Now let's do the same logic and see how things work. So I'm going to stop this and then I'm going to build it. Last time it was just the main.js, right? Now you see different chunks got created. Other than main, you got couple more chunks here. See, contact us, there's a separate chunk. Data binding, there's a separate chunk. So now the size is different. The size is not same. Now let's see what happens. So now what we do, now let's run this ng serve and let's go to this, and what I'm going to do is, okay, so I'm going to clear everything. Okay, so the app is loaded. I'm going to refresh this and I'm going to clear everything. Okay, now if I go to this home component, then only the home component chunk file is created, like it's downloading. You see this 3IAU. Look at this, abort one. Similarly, EX6A is for contact us. So if I go to contact us, then only this file is getting downloaded. Whenever I go to the data binding, then the data binding chunks is downloaded. Once it is downloaded, then you go all of the visited place, this will not get downloaded because it's already downloaded, right? So we will only download whenever it is required. Okay, so that's the beauty of the lazy loading, and lazy loading is there for a long time for the ng module base where the module itself is downloaded, but they have improved a lot with standalone where component wise we can lazy load it. Much better performance. So this is what is all about today's video. Let's quickly recap. Today we talked about routing, how routing needs to be set up, how the routing needs to be navigated using the router link, and then also a small Angular snippet extension. If you download, you can use that as well. And then we also talked about lazy loading with respect to the components. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Share this with your friends. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video, guys. So
thanks for watching.
For the upcoming
if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!